بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Assalamu alaikum. Today it is the 26th of September 2026, and in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 362. Today we'll start looking at the words of verse 105 of chapter 2 of the Holy Quran, Al-Baqarah, and this is the first part of these broadcasts. Just to remind you that these broadcasts are brought to you courtesy of LASER, Lahore Ahmadiyya School of Education in Religion, which is a branch or a department of Ahmadiyya Anjuman Islam, which is also known as the Lahore Ahmadiyya movement. The Ahmadiyya movement was established by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib Rahmatullah Alayh, and his teaching was that although other people say that after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, the Prophet can come, this cannot be right, because the Holy Quran says that the Holy Prophet is Khatamun Nabiyyin, and the Holy Prophet explained that this means La Nabi Abadi, there is no Prophet after me. And this worried the companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad that, if the Ummah goes astray, what will happen? And the Holy Prophet consoled them by saying that God will raise Mujaddideen, reformers. And many reformers have been raised by God. There's been a whole chain. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad claimed that he was one of those reformers, one of those Mujaddideen. And he further said that his distinction was the fact that the Messiah and the Mahdi mentioned in the Hadith, promised in the Hadith, were titles. They were not people who were going to come. They were titles for one of the Mujaddids. And he was the bearer of those titles. And upon this, people started calling him and members of the Ahmadiyya movement heretics and kafirs and all this kind of thing. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad pointed to the Holy Prophet's saying that if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter of the kalima that you are not a Muslim, you are a kafir, you are a heretic, then it is the person saying it who actually becomes the heretic. The edict of heresy returns and falls upon the person who uttered it. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also taught that although people say some prophetic revelation like Ayah Rajam, Surah Walayat, etc., is missing from the Holy Quran, and some that is in the Holy Quran has been abrogated and cancelled. This is incorrect, because God has promised that He revealed it and He will safeguard the Holy Quran. So how can something that has God's promise, that has God's protection, be wrong? Wrong in the sense that have things missing in it, or things in it which are not applicable, which have been cancelled. These are important things to ponder over. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said that although people say that from our sources, from the fundamental sources, the first one is Hadith, he said that the first source of our knowledge, the first thing we should turn to, should always be the Holy Quran and nothing else. And then comes the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then comes Hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, but it has to be consistent with the Holy Quran and nature and other things. If it is, then we accept it as being genuine and act on it if need be. And he taught that jihad is a fundamental duty of every Muslim. But we have to take the Holy Prophet's definition, who, when returning from fighting, said that Muslims were returning from Jihad-e-Asghar, the minor jihad, to Jihad-e-Akbar, the major jihad. And then went on to explain that Jihad-e-Akbar, the major struggle, is Jihad bin Nafs. A jihad, a struggle with your own souls. That is the greater jihad. So let us turn to verse 105 of the Holy Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ما يود الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ولا المشركين أن ينزل عليكم من خير من ربكم والله يختص برحمته من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. Neither those who disbelieve from among the people of the book, nor the polytheists, like that any good should be sent down to you from your Lord. And Allah chooses whom He pleases for His mercy. And Allah is the Lord of mighty grace. So today we will look at the first two words, ma and yawaddu. So let us turn to my notes on the computer and see what we have. The root of the word is wa, dal, dal. So this is why in the Holy Quran you find a shadda on the dal, which is the equivalent of the English double letters. And this root, wa, dal, dal, occurs in the Holy Quran 29 times in 5 forms. 5 words are made from it. 17 times as badda, and 8 times as mawaddat. And it has 2 meanings. One is to love, to wish, to desire. It also means affection, love, etc. So let us see what we are told. Let us see what we are told about its meaning. Al-Wuddu, it means to love something and to desire it. And as I said just now, in the Holy Quran, it's used in both these meanings of love and desiring something. The reason being that obviously you would only desire something that you love, that you want. You don't desire things that you don't like, that you don't want. It's like, no one prays for being sent to hell. You don't desire that. You don't want that because no one likes hell. But everyone likes heaven, would love to be in heaven. So we pray for it, we desire it. And if you look at chapter 30, verse 21, we find the Holy Quran says, وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And He created in you love and kindness. So you can see here, mawadda is being used for love. Then in chapter 19, verse 96, we have Sayyaj'alu lahumur rahmanu wudda. And God will put in the hearts of the people love, their love. And this is, you might say, an explanation or expansion of the message in chapter 8, verse 63, where the Holy Quran says, Law anfaqta ma fil ardi jami'a amma allafta baina qulubihim. And if all the treasures in the world had been spent, even then you would not have been able to create that love in their hearts. But God is going to do it. And interestingly, where the word means love, if you look at chapter 85, verse 14, we have Wahuwal Ghafurul Wadud. And He is forgiving. He forgives. Why? Because He loves. Out of love, He forgives. Now, you see, this completely contradicts the general conception of Allah that Muslims are taught, that He is just waiting for you to make a mistake so that He can punish you and throw you in hell and all this kind of thing. But the Holy Quran says, Wahuwal Ghafur, and He's a forgiver. He forgives. Why? Rul Wadud. Because He loves humanity. Out of love, he forgives. He forgives out of love. And again in chapter 11, verse 90, we have Inna Rabbi Rahimum Wadud. Rabbi, my Rabb, my Lord. Who is he? Rahimun. He is Rahim, merciful. And Wadud, and the one who loves. And this Wadud, or Wadudun, is one of the 99 names of God, what's called Asma'i Husna, the 99 attributes of Allah. And when we talk about those 99 attributes, we have, people always mention Jabbar and Kahar and this and that, and, all the attributes which reflect that God will one day judge us and deal with us according to our deeds and so on. But we hardly ever mention Wadudun, that he loves us as well. And it is very strange that, this emphasis on sort of, God's, what can you say, strictness or whatever you want to call it. And people say, well, when I say these things, people say, well, wouldn't he send us to hell if you do the wrong thing? Well, my answer to that is, if you have a heart attack and you collapse, and a friend brings the ambulance or picks you up and puts you in the car and rushes you to the hospital, and you go there, and then the surgeon says, well, he's had a heart attack, his arteries are blocked, we need to open his chest and put a stent or, do a bypass or something. So they bring out an electric saw, they cut open your ribs and so on. They get to your heart, they put a stent in and, maybe a bypass or whatever, and you come round and you're in incredible pain. You are in incredible pain because of the surgery, the operation. But the question is, why did your friend do it? Are you going to thank him for his love and consideration and going out of his way to rush you to hospital to make sure that you don't die? Or are you going to be afraid of him and fearful for him? Oh, last time I had a heart attack in his presence, he rushed me to the hospital where I had to go through all this pain. Which one? It is the same with Allah. This is why God says that even hell is one of his blessings, and we should be grateful for that, because it is akin to a hospital. When we go into the next life, it's just like a baby being born. What the mother eats, what the mother does affects the baby. And the baby is born, and the baby's health depends on what the mother has been eating and what she has been doing and this kind of thing. The soul is the baby in us, and whatever we do, it affects that. And just like when the baby is born, if he has any weaknesses or whatever, then doctors treat him, etc., etc. And, and it's the same thing with our souls, with the hereafter, that our souls will need treatment until they're fully recovered, and then they'll be fine. And then about the word meaning desire or wish, there are plenty of verses of the Holy Quran. For example, having said there are plenty of verses, I can't find one now. Oh, here we are. Chapter 3, verse 96. وَدَّتْ طَوَائِفَةٌ مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يُضِلُّونَكُمْ. So this is addressed to the Muslims. That there are some from people of the book who desire that they lead you astray. So that's the word being used in the Holy Quran to mean desire. But there's one thing I find very interesting, and that is that there is, or there was, an idol, and it was called Wuddun. And some people say the reason for that was that the Quraysh loved it. Well, that's fine. The Quraysh loved it because they used to worship idols. But what surprises me is the belief amongst the Muslims. There is this theory that that idol was called Wuddun because Allah loved that idol. I mean, this is a complete nonsense. It's complete denial of the whole of Islamic teaching. Shirk is the greatest sin in Islam. So why would Allah love something that human beings go and worship and love and they pray to and so on? You see, Muslims complain about people objecting to their beliefs and all this kind of thing, but most of it, most of the criticism is about their wrong beliefs, like this one here, that this idol was called Wuddun. Wuddun. Why? Because Allah loved it. Why would Allah love an idol? I mean, every prophet that we know of in the Old Testament, New Testament, the Holy Quran itself and so on, they all preached that idolatry, shirk, was something that Allah is not going to forgive. And then we are told Allah loves this idol, which is leading people astray. I mean, does that use your common sense? Let's use our common sense. Does that make any sense? And it is because of these beliefs that Muslims are made fun of. And it is exactly to correct such beliefs that a mujaddid was needed. He had to come and say things like, now no prophet can come. No prophetic revelation is missing from the Holy Quran. No verse of the Holy Quran is abrogated. And no, God did not love idols, etc. With this, I take my leave of you, and with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep the whole of humanity safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum. Khuda Hafiz. Goodbye.